Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today, I have my buddy from St. Paul, Minnesota, Tyler. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Tyler is currently serving in the Air Force right now, so thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So today, I have you on to talk about this bad boy right here, New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
But before we get into that, how did you become a fan?
Oh, I was about 5 years old, and I remember hearing "It's My Life" on the radio. So I'm pretty young, and obviously that album was a very instrumental album, and that single into bringing in the younger generation of fans. And I was one of those kids that remember hearing it, and being laced in by that talk bots on "It's My Life." So ever since then, it's been my number one band.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. The video, I was 8 when it came out, and I just got hooked on it, and
Yeah.
set the crush. It just what an incredible album that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we are going to talk about New Jersey, which
Mhm.
is the band's fourth studio album, the last '80s album of theirs, which was released on September 19th, 1988. It was produced by Bruce Fairbairn. They started to record this album, I think, 3 to 4 weeks after the Super When Wet tour ended. So as you and I both know, John's vocals towards the end of that tour, no fault of his own, just the constant touring. His vocals were pretty beaten up towards the end of the Slippery tour. So I'm surprised that they kind of went back into the studio to record this so quick. John has said many times that this album was an album that they wanted to prove that they weren't just a fluke because the debut in 7800 weren't huge. The Slippery was, and they wanted to prove that they weren't a one hit wonder or a fluke or anything like that. What amazes me about this album is that this was actually going to be a double album back then, and the record company said no to it because they would have to charge a higher price on the album because it was a 2 CD thing. And so they said no to it. But I thought it would have been really cool to have a two disc, two vinyl album. So that was pretty cool. And it
Yeah.
was actually supposed to be called Sons of Beaches as well. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
Oh, now you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't go with that though, because I think it would have been kind of weird, So I think New Jersey is the cool title, because it shows where they're from
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So what's your connection with this album? What do you like about it?
Well, I mean, really top to bottom, like every single track. There's not really a weak one on there. I was looking at the back of the vinyl and the cover of it today, and I mean, the very first track is "Lay Your Hands on Me," and it's such a like arms in the air, you know, pop and rock anthem where you just get the vibe of an arena and just everybody singing along to it, which is what they've been doing for the last 30 something years with that song when they play it live. All the
Right.
way down to Love for Sale, they have a couple songs in there that are very dynamic and different. And I know Ride Cowboy Ride was recorded in mono, so just like those cool things that they do throughout the record, on top of it being a very pop metal sounding record, and then slowing it down a little bit, so those acoustic blues grass kind of feel to it too, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about it too, like how simple yet huge the artwork is. I mean, it's just bland. The front and the back is just bland. And the band they didn't do a lot of photography for the actual album shoot. I mean, they did photograph sessions later on, but like this one is such like a huge, famous picture.
Yeah.
A bridge. So yeah. And then before we get into the tour and the songs, I want to talk about the Super Deluxe edition that was reissued in 2014, I believe.
Hmm.
So you get the regular uh, deluxe edition. It has the original album remastered, and then it has this they called it the Son of Beaches demos, which was, I think some of them were supposed to be
Yeah.
the second part of the album. But like songs like Judgment Day, Full Moon High, Growing Up the Hard Way, Let's Make It Baby, I was never too crazy about.
No, Growing Up the Hard Way was one of my favorites of those
Yeah,
demos.
I love that. Love Hurts, Backdoor to Heaven, Now and Forever is one of my favorites. That were outtakes. Uh, Does Anybody Really Fall in Love Anymore? Stick to Your Guns demo was really good. One fun fact though was House of Fire. I love. You've obviously heard of House of Fire, right?
It's been a while since I've listened to it. I didn't
Yeah,
listen to
but
those.
it's funny because that one was given to Alice Cooper afterwards because they decided to put on the album. Same thing with I think it's Full Moon High. Might be a different song, but I think it's Full Moon High. That was given to Cher as well.
It's funny how all those lined up because those two artists had really big albums those years too when they released this album. Alice Cooper with Trash and John and Richie were actually on a couple of the singles of that album too. So it's kind of cool how that all flows together.
Yeah, so in 2014, they released both, the Super Deluxe and the Deluxe, and I was so glad that they did that because we got some demos, we got the outtakes, and one other thing too that I love about that they included was the Diamond Ring demo, which was actually later released on These Days. I actually prefer this version of These Days on this album more than I do on the These Days version. I just like the way the drums sound and the guitar and
Yeah. No, they definitely implement the guitar in the. I know they had that song written for a long time, and they were just kind of fine tuning it into the way that they wanted it to, and that's what they did for These Days. But I really like the broken down strip version of it.
Yeah.
New Jersey with a little more of Richie involved in the instrument, and then as opposed to like the soft acoustic like piano version.
Yeah, I think the These Days version of Diamond Ring was more John and Richie.
Yeah.
But the New Jersey demo of it was very band type sound. So let's talk about the tour. Obviously, you and I, we were not alive
Yeah.
this tour, and I wish we were. At
Yeah.
least I say that for me. I wish I could have seen them during the '80s, and we both know that New Jersey tour was the one that really burned them out because they kept going. I mean, they toured this album from October of '88 to February of 1990. So, and there were plans that they were going to also release a live album, which wasn't a thing bands were doing back then, and that's one of the things they wanted to do to stand out was do a live album. But sadly, the record company shot that down too. I guess that's what I've heard.
Yeah, that would have been cool to hear because we don't have many of those live tracks from that decade of they were huge.
I know, and man, I really hope we get it one day.
Yeah.
Like just like another. I wish they would have done that for these New Jersey deluxe editions back a few years ago. Include that live album. That would have been really, really cool. But another thing that was really cool that stands out from this era and tour is the Access All Areas too. You've obviously seen this. It's a full on behind the scenes documentary. And I love that kind of stuff. They follow them through parts of the tour, and it's really cool. You kind of get an insight of why they're the biggest rock and roll band. One thing that I really like about this Access All Areas too is there's a part in the VHS that they're singing "I'm a fighter for love, I'm a fighter for you," or something like that. And it's just John and Richie and two guitars in a motel room. I always wondered if that was their song that they had made, or if it was a cover. I don't think it's a cover. I think it's their own song.
Just them kind of busking in a hotel room.
And so if I could pick any song to really hear, it would be that one because I think it's such a good song. I think there was a lot of potential in it, but sadly, there's no light of day to it. So obviously, this tour ended at the February of 1990, and this is kind of when the band went separate ways, not due to, well, I'm sure there was some fighting involved, but they were just exhausted.
Yeah.
So, this album and this tour really took a toll on them. So, but let's start digging into the track, shall we?
Sounds good.
All right. First track is "Lay Your Hands on Me," which is the fourth single, which was released on August 1st, 1989, I believe. It was written by John and Richie. This is like the Johnny's Church of Rock and Roll song. Like I think this is the connection between the band and the fans via concerts. What's your opinion on this song?
Well, I mean, it's a great rock and roll song. It's a great, like, soulful hard rock song. I love the guitar solo in it. It's one of their songs from that era where they kind of extend the guitar solo. It's a longer one. And, Richie, in my eyes, is one of the most underrated guitar players of all time. And you can really hear it in that song. And I don't understand when you listen to that song why he's so underrated, because that guitar solo is I think one of their best guitar solos. And the only thing that I always get disappointed about in this track, and it's not the studio track, it's when they play it live, how they have stopped doing the drum intro to it. And it would be, just to bring it back, just once or every once in a while to, include the Tico introduction to it. I think that would be amazing. I've seen the band 4 times live, and the last 3 times they've played the song live, and it's great every time. But never has it. They haven't done it in I don't know how long. But that intro, and then I like when they would do that, and then have David Bryan come in on the keys, and Tico would play off of each other, and then they would go into the song, kind of a thing. I wish I could see that, but I know that's probably never going to happen. So
yeah, you never know. I mean, it was so good because you kind of saw, a lot of people would focus on the John and Richie chemistry, them blending together. But like you said, that intro with David and Tico, you saw their chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add on Richie later on in it. It was so good. And, the intro too is so good on this album. It's a good way to start off the album, because it's a faded out in the beginning of boom, 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 hey, and then it starts to increase and you hear John's, talking in the background. And then it's such a good song to start off the album. And like you said, Richie's solo in it too is amazing.
Yeah. It's a phenomenal track, and I'm surprised that song didn't reach number 1.
I know. What did you think of the music video?
It's a cool one. With John up in the rafters, starting off, and then getting the fans involved in it is pretty cool. Like that's one of the reasons why I wish I would have been alive for that time to just experience a concert like that.
Yeah, and like you said, the rafters. That would have been a cool stage setup. To be out in the middle of the arena, and then seeing John, up on the rafters and being that close, and really cool.
Frequently on that tour too, with that song, he would start underneath the stage, and then during the intro, and then when the big pop from the song comes out, when they do the guitar introduction solo kind of a thing, but he would jump up from under the stage like with a bunch of fireworks, which we obviously know wouldn't happen and hasn't happened in the last 25 years or whatever. But just to be able to those kinds of things would have been very cool to be a part of.
Yeah. So like I said, this song is really a true rock and roll type.
Yeah.
Between it's a song between John and the fans. About letting loose and freeing your mind and just loving rock and roll. What do you have a favorite lyric on this song?
Don't you know I only aim to please? I love that coming out of the guitar solo.
Yeah. I love that one. Mine's if you show me how to get up off the ground, I can show you how to fly and never ever come back down.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. You can take that in many different ways and different interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is I take it as loving the music so much, and that's what gets you off the ground and keeps you going and stuff. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, I've always done too.
Yeah. Let's jump to the next track, which this is actually my favorite hit song, Bad Medicine. I absolutely love seeing this one live.
Yeah.
It was actually the first thing, and I think it was the perfect first single too for this album. It was the first single, which was released on September 3rd of 1988. It was written by John Ritchie and Desmond Child. One of my favorite things about this song is David's keys. You know,
Hmm.
at the beginning, I just love that. Then the way that Tico and Ritchie come in after the, um, so what's your take on this song?
Well, I mean, it was one of their number ones, and it's for a good reason. I mean, everything from the guitar, like that lick during the verses that he has with the slide and the pinky and the. I've tried learning it, and it's so hard to play, and it's yet so simple. But that's what makes it so great. And then it's a great guitar solo too. Like I'm a huge guitar guy, so like I always look at everything from the perspective of how the song's written and arranged with the guitar. And I mean, the first two songs right off the bat, it's and what cool thing about this song too is how Richie didn't have the lick for it until like the last minute when they recorded it. Like he just popped up with like I got it, and then they played it, and then that was on the record. Like it's just amazing.
Hmm. And and this song too has like really no meaning behind. I mean, it's more of like a tongue in cheek type thing. Like sexual and
Yeah, very
you
80s sex
know,
drugs type of feel to it.
yeah, addiction to love, and you can't get enough. So, but it's so good. And what I love about this song live too, and that John has done over the years. Uh, is he would mix different jukebox songs,
Mhm.
like old time rock and roll or Start Me Up. Well, Start Me Up was obviously But I'm Dead, but Twist and Shout as
Mhm.
well. I love how he incorporated different songs into the song live,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those favorite songs I love seeing live. Uh, Music videos. There were two music videos, but they kind of coincided with each other. So there was one, and you probably already know this. There was one with the regular record company music
Mhm.
video, and then they also did one with fans. So they gave fans cameras to
Yep.
go in and shoot, and so you got their point of view. So that was pretty cool. Which one do you prefer more?
I mean, I think I can't remember. I don't think I've seen that one from the fans' perspective, but
Oh,
I mean, the music video itself is really cool because it's like, you know, it's a very typical '80s music video, where it's like it looks like it's in concert kind of a thing,
yeah,
and it kind of is, but they're recording it for the sole purpose of the music video, but just that vibe to it and like the '80s party going on the stage kind of a thing. So
yep.
I mean, great. It's a great music video because it's just it really caps off the end of the decade for them and their style of writing, I think.
Yeah. And then another fun uh, thing about this video too is that there's two cameos in the beginning when they're outside waiting in line. You have Sam Kinison
Hmm.
whole spiel about the same music video over and over with all these bands, and then you also have John's brother Matt
Yeah.
Jovi. He's in it too. I think he's wearing a blue shirt in it, and so it was kind of cool to see that incorporated as well. Do you have a favorite lyric on this song?
Gosh. I mean, there's the whole song is so good. Uh, I love coming out of the solo, and it's that whole that the first two verses right after the solo where it's like it sounds like he's just singing it all in one breath. Because
Oh,
when I'm in my car and I'm playing it and I got it turned up all the way and I'm trying to rattle it off too, it's like I run out of breath halfway through and I'm like, how the hell did he do this?
yeah, I know. That's my favorite line. I need a respirator because I'm running out of breath for your all-night generator wrapped in stockings and a dress. I love that. Uh, Even saying it, it gets you out of breath.
Yeah, I know.
Um, yeah, it's just such a good song. I love putting this in my workouts too
Hmm.
when I'm working out and stuff because it's one of those like if I have a day where I'm not feeling up to working out and stuff, I'll put this in my playlist and it pumps me up.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Same thing live too. I mean, it just gets you going. You
Well, and then
know.
Is there a doctor in the house to the beginning of the song too?
Oh,
But everybody knows what's coming, kind of a thing too.
yeah, we know what's coming. Yeah,
It's a great song live.
sure is. Let's go to the third track. Born to Be My Baby, which was the second single released on November 24th, 1988. Yeah, I think it's eight. Yeah. It was written by John and Richie. Um, and I think the whole song, I think it was I think it was kind of like a sequel indirectly to Living on a Prayer with the whole Tommy and Gina thing. The whole song's about struggling to survive, but sticking together and getting through it together, pretty much living on our prayer
Yep.
in a way. So what's your take on the song?
This song, just like the sound of it, you can kind of feel the change. How they go from, maybe that slippery era sound of more heavier and hard rock anthemy sound to more of that pop style. And I mean, it's still a rock song, but you can hear the transition from the first two tracks into what they kind of have, and maybe foreshadowing down the road and how they're going to transition their sound, kind of a thing. Still keeping the roots of that time in the song too. So
Yeah.
it's a very, the lyric is really good, and I love the na 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 that part of the song too.
With
So
the 2, 3, 4, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's a great song, and they play it live just about every night.
Yep.
I mean, they could play this whole album live just about every night.
Yeah. You know what else I love about this song? And I wish they would have released the audio version of this, but if you watch the music video, and I keep talking about what bands weren't doing at this time, Bon Jovi were finding ways to do things a little differently. So in this music video, the audio is different in the first minute.
Yeah.
They'll cut off like the drums and the vocals. You just hear the guitar, or when they're doing the whole na 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 na, the whole band is there singing that na 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 part. And so I thought it was kind of cool that they were showing themselves in the studio as well, and like how it works to make a song. And
Yeah.
because a lot of bands, were touring and all their music videos were the same on the stage making the music video, like a concert. So I was glad that they made a video of not just on a stage, like what it takes to be in the studio.
Yeah.
So my favorite lyric is, if we stand side by side, there's a chance we'll get by. I know that you'll live in my heart till the day that I die.
Yeah.
What's your favorite lyric? I know you have a lyric book in front of you.
Yeah. No, I got it right here because I mean, no, I could literally read off this whole album word for word and sing it along. But light a candle, blow the world away, table for two on a TV tray. That whole one right, my favorite in the whole song. Like that really, for me, it's always connected to me more so than any part of that song.
Right. And like I was saying earlier too, my take on the meaning of the song is, being together through the good and the bad. And I think that your favorite lyric that you just said too really proves that meaning, not having much, but having each other, and that's enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next track is Living in Sin, which was the fifth single, which was released on November 11th, 1989. It was written just by John. And, this whole song is, and in a way, I think he was writing about Dorothea, because during the New Jersey tour, he just got up and one day married Dorothea in Vegas. But obviously, this was written before that. And so I think he was, in a way, writing about Dorothea, in a way. So the whole song's about that nobody can stop a relationship. Like like the lines in the song, no license, no preacher, signing on the line type thing. Pretty much having each other even though no one else approves. That's my whole take on the song. What's yours? What do you think of the song?
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head there. That's the whole meaning of the song, And I remember him. I forget what documentary it is. It might have been from their Lost Highway tour, their concert DVD from Madison Square Garden, when he's talking about when him and Dorothea got married, and they just did it. They got married in Vegas without anybody really knowing, and people were angry at them for doing that. And it was him saying, I don't care what you think, and I really think that that's what the song is about too. It's him not caring about what other people think. It's just him and her kind of a thing. And
Yeah,
it's going to connect to a lot of people, and it did. That's kind of a diehard fan favorite song, even though they don't play it much anymore.
yeah.
But a lot of people love that song off this record.
And if we're looking at the flow of the album too, is the first two tracks, "Lay Your Hands on Me" and "Bad Medicine," are the fun rock songs, and then you get "Born to Be My Baby" and "Living in Sin," and tracks 3 and 4, are all about being together and sticking together and stuff like that. So I think the flow of this album is really good as far as these first 4 songs. You were talking about it live. I love the way that it's played live, especially that intro when it's just Tico,
Mm-hmm.
like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, and then all of a sudden David starts hitting the keys, and then John comes in with vocals. Uh, One thing I really loved they did, especially during the Lost Highway tour, was when they did "Chapel of Love" at the end.
Yep.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good addition to it. Um, Music video. This is when I was a kid. You've obviously seen the music video, so it's about this girl sneaking away from her Catholic upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
sneaking away with this guy. Obviously, no one else approves. So when I was a kid, just because he had long hair, I always thought if a guy had long hair, he was older, and
Yeah.
could because he didn't have parents to tell him no.
Yeah.
So I always thought that this guy was like 30 years old. And because this girl was with her parents and at home, I thought she was 17 or something like that. I thought that this guy was like a pedophile in a
Yeah.
way.
The music video brought a different interpretation to the song.
Yeah. And so as I got older, I realized that this guy and this girl were the same age.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I thought that when I was a kid. But it's a good video. I mean, it really, like you said, it kind of pulls away from what the song's about, but actually goes back to what the song's about.
Yeah, I think that was the nature of '80s music videos, though.
Yeah, but I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how are her parents letting him get away with sleeping with her when he's 30? Then I realized they're the same age. So that's my joke for the night, I guess. Do you have a favorite lyric on this one?
Yeah, that opening line, "I don't need no license to sign on no line, and I don't need a preacher to tell me you're mine." That's my favorite.
I love that one too, and that's like what the whole song's about. You don't need anyone
Yeah.
for permission. Mine's "Is it right for both our parents who fight it out most nights, then pray for God's forgiveness when you both turn out the lights, or wear that ring of diamond when your heart's made of stone. You can talk but still say nothing. You stay together but alone."
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's another view of a relationship of like in this music video where these parents, they don't look so happy with each other, but they stay together because that's what they're told to do. But this younger couple, they want to be together, and they look at this older couple saying, "What do you know? You're not happy with each other, but we are." So does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
That's my whole interpretation of that lyric.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get to the next track, which is "Blood on Blood." It was written by John Ritchie and Desmond Child, and this is truly a brotherhood song, as we know.
One of
It's
my top favorites on this record.
yeah. What's your take on this song?
I mean, I listened to this song so much when I was in high school because I had a really close group of friends, a few of us, and actually right after we graduated high school, we got the 4 of us all got similar tattoos, and I wanted ours to say around it "Blood on Blood," but they didn't understand because they listen to horrible music and they don't listen to the same music I do. But I was trying to explain to them, how we're all brothers and friends, but we're not blood brothers, but we're like blood on blood kind of a thing. Like, oh, okay. And then that didn't surface into anything, but it was based off the song, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great song. Live, I've heard it live once, and I was so pumped when I got to see it live because it's every once in a while that they'll put it in their set list.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great opener. I don't think they've opened up with this song since 2011 or maybe even 2013, but it was a great opener. What I also like about it, I like it better in the middle of a set list because when you get John doing an acoustic at the beginning,
Yeah,
it's just him and his guitar,
yeah,
and they bring in the whole band. I like that version
yeah.
too.
He did that quite a bit on the Lost Highway tour. I know.
Yeah,
When the only time I've seen the song live was the first leg of the "This House Is Not for Sale" tour. The first time I saw them on that tour in St. Paul, and that was the first song to open up the encore. And
yeah,
funny story with that. So Phil X was playing with them, and they started playing the song, but he messed up, and the lights hadn't come on yet, and they just stopped for like 10 seconds, and then they went back into the song and played it again. So it was kind of like oh oh kind of a thing, but it was pretty funny.
I never noticed that. I'm gonna have to go back and see that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people edited that out of videos or something, but yeah, I remember that because I was so excited to finally see it live, and they started playing it, and like 5 seconds in, he messed up, and then they stopped and started again because the lights hadn't come on yet, and I felt so bad for him because I knew that he was probably getting the John Bon Jovi death glare.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what makes shows pure. Seeing mistakes like that and stuff, makes proves it goes to show that mistakes happen. They're perfect, or they're not perfect, and they are actually playing live. They're not lip syncing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Do you have a favorite lyric on this song?
Yeah, well, if I talked about my all-time favorite lyric in this song, I might get a call from my mom later, so I should probably change it. The fake ID one was a good one. I love that part of it. Just because it's just the innocence of being kids and wanting to be a little bit. I think that's that resonates with every kid growing up and going through their teenage years, and that's what they really capture in the lyrics of the song.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm glad you said that about innocence of kids, because
Mm-hmm.
my favorite lyric kind of resembles that too. Danny knew this white trash girl who threw in a 10. She took us to a cheap motel and turned us into men.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. But if my mom walks in,
Said it for you.
she might call me.
Yeah, and just the way that it's sung and played, I enjoy.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's go to the next track, "Homebound Train," which is written by John and Richie. This song is kind of forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
What I really like about this song is John plays the harmonica on it.
Yep. The solo that goes back and forth between the keys.
Yeah, and I want to go back to "Born to Be My Baby" too, because live he did it sometimes here and there with the harmonica, and I thought that was great too.
Yeah.
This song I think John wrote when he was like on the road. It's all about my interpretation. I think it's all about being away from home and just focus on coming back home. So like the homebound train is the tour bus or the airplane. Um, if you look at the lyrics, I think the lyrics are all about how life on the road has changed them from 83 up until 88. What's your take on the song?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just shows. I think they wrote this song during well, they were so close to the tour with Slippery When Wet. So I think you can kind of see when they wrote this song along in that tour because it was towards the end of it. John was worn out. He basically didn't have a voice on that last part of that tour. And you can see the how just exhausted and tired they were in the lyrics of the song and talking about just wanting to get home. And
Yep.
and then mix that in with how the song is played. It's a phenomenal clash. My favorite part, I don't even have like a favorite lyric in the song because I focus so much on Richie's guitar playing in this because it's so bluesy yet so hard rock and like almost metally. You get the vibe that there's a Eddie Van Halen influence in it because you hear a lot of the pinch harmonic and the vibrato in the solo, and it's really cool to just how that stuff. It's kind of similar to Raise Your Hands on Slippery. It's
Yeah.
just got that hard rock vibe, but also in a very bluesy way. And it's just, with the latest passing of Eddie Van Halen, you just hear similarities in some of the styles, and it's kind of cool.
I never thought about that. Yeah, you're right. Now that
Yeah,
you say that, yeah, I can see that.
you'll have to listen to it again, or whoever listens to this will have to listen to that with that going in because it's really cool. Because
Yeah.
everybody from that era, Eddie Van Halen was such a monumental role model in guitar playing, and you kind of I think it's kind of like a tip of the cap with his own like bluesy version of it, yet it still rocks the house down. And I love this song. It's a deep cut from this album, but it's one that shouldn't be a deep cut. I just think because it's on this album, it's it's a deep cut.
Yeah. What's your favorite lyric on this one?
I mean the chorus, all the way back home on that homebound train, I'm going down, 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 kind of a thing. I just like the, just the style and the way he sings it. It's my favorite part of it is the chorus. Don't bore us, get to the chorus, as he always says.
Yeah. Mine is, and I think this proves to what I think the song is about. When I was just a boy, the devil took my hand, took me from my home, made me a man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think the song is about where they started in '83 up into '88.
Yeah.
So I always wonder what his vision of what the devil was. Was the devil the machine that they were on? With the constant release, and the touring, and the promo, and all that. And I think just like him learning to be a kid,
Yeah.
and a successful businessman, CEO, which CEO didn't really happen until 1992, but the head of
Yeah.
what was Bon Jovi. So that's my interpretation.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on because, from 1983 to 1988, 5 years, they released 4 studio albums.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too much anymore. And you can it's just the fatigue of it. And I think that machine that he's referring to is that, and he refers to it in The Devil's in the Temple, and This House is Not for
Yep.
Sale. The record companies and just, how it's a part of a machine and you feel like you don't own yourself and your music that you're making, kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the next track.
All right.
Wild is the Wind, which is one of my favorites on this album. Before we get into it, this was written by John Ritchie, Desmond Child, and I'm not sure if it's credited on the album, but
Diane.
Diane Warren. Is it credited on there?
Yep, it is. Yep.
I didn't even look at it, but yeah. So I think I've seen somewhere where John talked about, because it wasn't usual to have 4 songwriters on a song, and someone asked him probably back in the '80s, and he goes, "Why did you add a 4th?" And he goes that he thought this song deserved to have a woman's songwriting on it. If that makes sense. But we never saw her again on any other songs. I wish we did, because I don't know how much input she had on this song, but it's so good, the lyrics.
Yeah.
But this whole song is about not being enough and giving it your all, and that still not being good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And not having the courage to be a better person as well. Like my favorite lyric, maybe a better man would live and die for you, but maybe a better man would never say goodbye to you.
Yeah.
So, it's just that song. It's all about trying your best. You could be better, but you can't be better. And it's a song of defeat, pretty much. What's your take on it?
It feels like the song to me, my perspective of it is you got this 6-foot hole that you can't get out of, kind of a thing. You feel like the dirt keeps piling on top of you no matter how hard you try. And I think my favorite lyric, I think it represents that in every sense of it. I gave you what you wanted. God couldn't give you what you need. You wanted more from me than I could ever be. You wanted heart and soul, but you didn't know, baby. Wild as the wind, kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So I think it really, resonates with that.
Yeah, and I love that intro too. I think it's just I don't know if it's John. I think it's Richie. He's just playing the guitar and like about 30 seconds, and then the song comes in. So I was glad they kind of put that in there. There's only one thing I would change about this song.
What's
Like,
that?
I love this song. So if you look at the first chorus, the second, then the final chorus, the ending of the chorus is, when they do the wild is the wind. I
Mm.
don't know how I can describe it, but how like in the first end of the first chorus, he goes wild as the wind, and then it kind of stops and goes into the second.
Yeah.
Uh, and the second chorus and the final chorus, it's a continuous of the chorus. It's different.
Yeah.
I should be more prepared on how to explain this, but
Yeah.
you'll,
No,
you'll go.
that's why I like it though. Like, so the reason what you would change for me, that's why I like is because the chorus isn't. It's not like a chorus, B chorus, C chorus kind of a feel. The chorus is still the same, but the lyrics in and of itself are just changed a little bit, and that's what I kind of like about it.
Yeah, okay. So what I'm talking about is that you got to understand "Baby Wild is the Wind." Then it
Yep.
goes into the second verse.
Yep.
So here's what I meant. So in the second chorus, "Wild is the wind that blows through my heart tonight that tears us apart."
Yep.
Of that line. And so I kind of wish, I'm with you on what you said, but I kind of wish that was in the first chorus too, because it's like, and maybe it makes the song perfect because in the first chorus, it's kind of like a roller coaster, but doesn't get you quite to that top of emotion.
Mm.
But then the second chorus, when it's about the night that tears us apart,
Yeah.
that is the top of the roller coaster and just takes you through the rest of that song. So maybe that was that's what makes the song so great. It's that emotion of a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's more of a emotional roller coaster ride than "I'll Be There for You" is too. So like you said, it takes you. It's like a crescendo of reaching to the top of that climactic part of your emotions, and it just brings you, and then you just kind of go up and down with "Wild as the Wind." That's what it is.
Exactly. Let's get to the next one, which we were talking about, "Ride Cowboy Ride," which was written by John and Richie, and this is where I kind of wonder if this is where "I'm a Fighter," which is on the Access All Areas. I wonder if this is where "I'm a Fighter" was kind of looked at or kind of started "Ride Cowboy Ride." Who knows? But it's just a true John and Richie song. It's a duet. And I love where it is on the track list of this album because it is a great intro to "Stick to Your Guns,"
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get to. Um, yeah, this song is kind of hard to understand what it's about because it's not that long of a song, and you're kind of like, "What is this about?" I think it's all about how to win a girl. You know, that's how to win your girl. I mean, what's your take on it? I never.
For me, it's got that feel of it's just it's like a tour song. Like they just kind of made up on the fly. It feels like just on the
Yeah,
tour bus
kind of like "I'm a
each show,
Fighter."
just playing their acoustic guitars and just coming up with lyrics on the way as they go. And I think it's about that ride of touring. Kind of like all live before on tour on different tours they've introed that to Wanted, and I think it's great for the track because Stick to Your Guns to me is like this album's version of Wanted, even though it's not as big, but
Yeah,
the songwriting kind of a thing for me. It's a good like cowboy intro. John's always been a fan of those cowboy western
yeah.
vibes, and it's just another one of those things on the next album. And wish they played it live more because it would be a good intro into those types of songs. Whether it was Wanted Dead or Alive, Stick to Your Guns, or even if they did that to like Blaze of Glory when they
Yeah,
played it live, it'd be a cool thing to see.
yeah. Um, my favorite lyric of this is "I want to know the danger of a kiss at midnight,"
Yeah,
uh, which I still don't. That's why I think the song's about winning a girl because I'm lost on the. I love the song. I don't
yeah,
know what it's. I think it's just like you said, on the fly type song. Do you have a favorite lyric on this one?
yeah. For me, it's that whole opening. It's ride cowboy ride through the back door to heaven, go the other side. I want to know the danger of a kiss at midnight. Just kind of those things of, I kind of wanted to be like a rebel kind of a thing, if you want to think of it like that. But,
That's a good take.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool song. It's just a cool acoustic, and the way they recorded it too. It sounds like it's played on like an old, record set from like 1940 or something like that. Just the way it sounds. So
Yep.
it's cool style that they did on the album. Much different from the rest of the album.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go to the next one. Stick to Your Guns, this is actually in my top 5 of all favorite Bon Jovi songs.
Okay.
This would probably be my 3rd favorite song ever.
Okay.
It was written by John Ritchie and Holly Knight, which we never saw before or after.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me like Diane Warren, how the songwriting is so perfect, and you wonder if it was just John Ritchie that did most of it, and they just kind of added to it or what. But the song is all about staying true to yourself and not let other things or people drag you down, And my favorite lyric kind of proves that. So you want to be the big time. Some people are going to drag you down. There's no living in the backseat if you're going to drive through town. When you pray for independence, you better stand your ground.
That's my favorite lyric in that song.
Yeah. What's your take on this song?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, if you're going to talk, you better walk, kind of a thing. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. And, it's right there in the title of it, Stick to Your Guns, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So got that very cowboy, feel, like the Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yep.
Plays Glory. It's that style, and it was at that time, when he was starting to get into acting too, and everything he was in Young Guns too, and, did all that stuff. So it's very cool, like just that style, how he brings it all into one song, and I think it's my top 3 on this album, but it's not my top 5 overall, but it's a very good song. I really like the, just the heavy power chords in the intro.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's also kind of right, when we said about, they want to prove that they weren't a fluke and they wanted New Jersey to be even better than Slippery. I think this is somewhat what that was about too, because, Bon Jovi is all about this is who we are and we're not going to change for anyone. So I think this is sticking to your guns. Unfortunately, the song doesn't get played live very often.
Yeah. Funny about that is that there's I forget where they played when one of the last times they played it live, and fans the fans held it up on signs for the lyric. Yeah, and he flips off one of the people holding it because they were blocking the view of it, and you see Richie in the background laughing because he's singing the song and John doesn't know the words.
No. And it's sad because it's such a good song, and you kind of wonder why John never wanted to play it, But yeah, let's go to the next one, which is one of probably my 3rd favorite ballad of theirs, "I'll Be There For You," which was the 3rd single released on April 4th, 1989. It was written by John and Richie. And I'm pretty sure I've seen Richie talk about this. Richie wrote the bulk of this song, I think.
Yeah.
Because he was in a breakup at the time, and he penned a lot of this. It's one of the best ballads. And when you listen to the studio version, it kind of like Water's the Wind. It's just a roller coaster, especially that second verse, which is my favorite lyric. My hands are dirty, but I wanted to be your Valentine, and when you get thirsty, I'll be the wine. It's amazing, and it's all about being there for someone and giving your all. And what's your take on it?
I think it's like a roller coaster of like what relationships can be, and my favorite part of the song lyrically is I know we've had some good times. They have their own hiding place. I can promise you tomorrow, but I can't buy back yesterday, kind of a thing. And I think just everybody has that personal relationship, and I think goes through that where you feel like love, but then there's that separation. That's just what it feels like to me, and I think that's why so many people love it, and it's such a great song. And talking about their personal relationship, now kind of a thing. I think looking back, it's funny how, they were the two writers of the song, and kind of how that whole situation played out in the end the last few years. But, how they were like the, probably the greatest duo, songwriters, I think. And now you don't see them together much anymore. So
Yeah. I'm glad you kind of mentioned about the last few years of this song because my favorite performance of this song, well, I like the 1989 Philadelphia performance, but
I love the 2013 Cleveland.
that one's okay. I like it. But my favorite is actually the 2011 performance, and it was in New York. And I think I was actually at that show. I can't remember. Um, no, I don't think I was at that show. It was Saratoga, I think. And
Okay.
it was just when Richie was in rehab and
Mhm.
Phil was stepping in. And have you seen this video?
That where he puts uh, the Bon Jovi dolls on the guitar while he's playing. I
That
think
was
that
in
was Milwaukee. That was in Milwaukee.
Columbus. That was in
Or,
Columbus. I was
oh,
at that show.
okay.
I actually know the girl who made those dolls, but that's another story.
Yeah.
No, but this one was in Saratoga, and I think it was like a show or two after Richie was in rehab.
Okay.
And you just see the pain and emotion in John performing that song all by himself because he's on the circles stage. And that video, you're going to have to check it out because it
Yeah.
is just incredible.
In Saratoga,
Yeah,
2011. Okay.
because John, that's just John and Richie's song. When they're on the circle and blah blah blah, and you feel the pain in that song. And one other thing I love about this performance live through any kind of performance of this song is the ad lib sometimes at the end. Like how he does it with always.
Mm,
He'll also include that through the wind, through the snow, through the driving rain.
mm,
He's also done that with "I'll Be There for You"
yeah.
year. So I like that.
Yeah. And live too when they implement the whole crowd doing the O's of the song
Oh
and
yeah,
dragged out. And when I was saying my favorite live performance is 2013 Cleveland, when they finish the song and John's still out in the circle and he's playing an acoustic guitar and the whole crowd's going oh, and then he comes back and finishes it again with "I'll Be There for You," and then the band finishes. That's my favorite performance.
yeah.
One of Richie's last performances with the band.
Yep. I was actually at that Cleveland show too. Actually, I think that was actually the last time I saw Richie. Maybe it might
I
have been.
never I never got to see him.
Oh man, that's a conversation for run low on time here. So let's go on the next track, which is "99 in the Shade," which is written by John and Richie. When I was a kid and I was discovering Bon Jovi, I couldn't get into this song. But when I became a teenager, I could relate to the song. I think the song's all about letting loose and being with your friends and just having a good time. And I think it was also another song about Tommy and Gina. Like there's a lyric in there. Somebody tells me even Tommy's coming down tonight if Gina says it's all right. So you kind of see a continuation of Tommy and Gina. Like I said, it was indirectly a continuation of Tommy and Gina and Born to Be My Baby, but 99 was a kind of a direct continuation of Tommy and Gina, if that makes sense in a way. Like their lives after Living on Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Maybe I looked too far into depth with it, but
Yeah, no, I always got the party feel to the song,
yep,
and for me, I got the vibe of Wild in the Streets, but more poppy.
yeah, yep,
And for me, it's my least favorite song on the album, but that doesn't mean I don't like it. But all
yeah,
the songs, it's the one that places last on it for me. But it does have that that radio blasting feel to it, and that's actually my favorite part in the song is tell the boy. Well, that part of the chorus, I got the radio blast into my old man Chevrolet. That's my favorite part because I do that all the time in my truck with music, and I just blast when it's summertime, roll the windows down, kind of a
yeah.
thing. And I
That's
always,
my favorite lyric too.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. "Love for Sale," which is the final track of the album. It was written by John and Richie. Uh, it's a fun song. I think it's more of like Ride Cowboy Ride, where it's off the cuff and it's just
yeah,
let's record to see where it takes us. And you kind of get that towards the end, like the, hey, I gotta go and blah blah blah. But I think they also tried the same thing with the Keep the Faith album with a little bit of soul. So they're kind of, I think they were trying something with New Jersey and Keep the Faith with finishing the album of just
Yeah.
being in the studio and just, hey, here, let's make up a song off the cuff in a way. Um, I love the way that they've done this live a few times, especially on This Left Feels Right
Mhm.
show when they were in Atlantic City. The way that they did that, also on the Circle tour in 2010, when they were all on the stage and you had Tico with the squeeze box and stuff like that. Um, I never really understood what this song was about either. Uh, I
I
think it's kind of
can't
like
put a finger on it either. Yeah, it's just
like like looking for love or sex. I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
You
It's
know,
kind of
or
telling a story, but without like a story to the story. It feels like.
yeah, I think it's just about, hey, I'm looking for love tonight.
Yeah,
More, but my favorite lyric of this is, "You can't shop for love when you're shopping at Sears."
yeah,
So like looking for, I don't want to say it is, but I feel like it's a way of like you're so desperate. And I'm not saying that they were desperate for prostitutes or anything, but I kind of like feel
yeah.
like
Add to it. Yeah,
find love anywhere else, you can go to prostitution. And I think Sears is a metaphor for prostitution. That's
yeah.
just, I'm probably wrong, but that's just how I took it.
It's a tell of the times though, because Spears isn't that big anymore. But so people looking back on this, they're like,
Like,
"What's
what's
Spears?"
Sears?
Yeah.
What's that? So, but do you have any takes on this song?
Uh, no real takes on it. I love the song. I just love the acoustic vibe to it.
Yeah,
Richie's powerful playing on the acoustic guitar with it, but they're just kind of vibing off one another and feeding
yeah,
off the way they're going. And my actual favorite performance of it is their unplugged live version. That's my favorite. And then they kind of go off script and do the LOVE love. That's my favorite performance of it.
I'm
So
glad you brought that
it's
up.
a cool song, and it's a cool way to end the album and kind of introduce the next part of the way the band started writing music and performing music. So all in all, I think that really captures the way the album start to finish, that
Right.
song for me, and that tour.
Yeah. Overall, this album is just it's amazing.
Yeah,
And they proved that they weren't a fluke because this was just a monster album, and I think it was so, I like it better than Slippery, to be honest
yeah.
with you.
This is my third favorite album.
Yeah. And hopefully one day, we get to hear a live album from this tour because there's such a great tour. Obviously, they were worn down and by the middle of it, but there's so much potential from this album. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, stay on. I'm gonna end the recording, but I want to thank you for coming on today. Again, thank you for your service in the Air Force. And it was great having you on. I want to have you on again sometime and just kind of talk about you being a fan and just random stuff. And
Sounds good. Yeah.
so again, thank you for coming on today. I
Thanks
appreciate it.
for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, buddy.